We're going to Winnipeg now. We got him. Your former teammate, Abu. Troy Westwood joins us from TSN 1290 Winnipeg. He's got the technology figured out. Westy, good morning from Regina. How's things out there?
Living the dream out here on the further a little bit east on the prairies here, man. Things are going well.
Well, good to hear, Troy. And look, we are anxiously anticipating Week 5 in the Canadian Football League. I see you've been talking a lot of hockey on your show, and I get it. It's a Jets town. But the argument this morning, if you've heard it, Abu is picking a Calgary-Hamilton Grey Cup. He says that Week 5 game is a Grey Cup preview this week. I said, have you forgotten about the Bombers? What's your take on who's the best team in the CFL right now?
I can understand what he's saying, man, because I've been emotionally scarred by the Stampeders too, right? I tell it all that every time Boo and I would go to Calgary, we'd get our butts handed to us by the Stampeders. So, and I agree with that. Until somebody knocks them off officially, then how do you give them disrespect? Or when you're talking about Huffnagel, Dickinson, and Bo Levi Mitchell and this freaking Arbuckle kid who's tossing the pill around at 90% completion percentage. So I understand that, but I think it's going to come down to who wins the West. You know, as far as positioning for that Western final, if the Bombers can capture the West and get that home playoff game, I think that's going to be enough. I think they're solid and strong enough that that'll be enough to propel them to the Grey Cup. And then you got the Bombers and the Tiger Cats.
Troy, obviously you watch every game on the CFL. Having said all of that, and I don't just mean Bomber games, all 4 games of the week you watch. Are the Bombers the best team in the CFL, in your opinion, as we sit here today?
I think so. I think from a well-rounded standpoint, on both sides of the ball and special teams, they certainly present themselves in that way right now. Nobody saw this Bomber defense coming out and making the statement that it has at this point in time. I think a lot of folks looked at the front seven and thought that they could be very dangerous with the addition of someone loved in Saskatchewan, Willie Jeffs for sure. But when Adam Bighill was out last week, and then you get Wilson moving to the middle and Briggs coming to the weak side, and the secondary kind of coming together after a rocky couple of starts, that they've only surrendered 1 offensive touchdown in 3 games, and all the teams they're playing are somewhere in the middle of the pack offensively. So Matt Nichols is playing brilliantly from a game management perspective. They've got all kinds of talent on offense. The defense is coming along very nicely. And, of course, Justin Medlock leads your special teams. I don't know that there's a more well-rounded team right now.
Hey, Westy, it's Abu here. 2 questions for you. Are you better looking than I saw you last time?
It's kind of like a fine wine sort of a thing, right? So there's a debate to be had.
I'll stay on this side of that debate, I think. The other question is, Rod's trying to get me in trouble with you by saying, I just think Calgary hasn't been beat yet. And I do think...
Yes, they have. Sorry to interrupt, but...
They haven't. They are the Grey Cup champions, and they're all that other stuff. Okay. I think Winnipeg is the best team in the league, and I am having a hard time finding a hole in how they're going to lose. So if Winnipeg doesn't go undefeated till the rest of the season and win the Grey Cup, where is their Achilles heel, or what is it, or how can we beat them? Loaded question.
I think the Achilles heel for the Bombers is if they get behind. You know, I don't know about the explosiveness. I don't know if you want Matt Nichols in cowboy mode. And Bo Levi Mitchell would be capable of that, right? If the Stamps are down 10-14, nobody's writing the Stamps off. If Matt Nichols get that you don't want Paul Police's offense, to me, isn't built around Matt Nichols to be a come from behind sort of a situation. They really want to manage and keep it tight. Ball security, you know, Boo, the way Paul Police is with ball security signs all over the locker room. They're very much so a tight management sort of a situation here like that. But I totally agree with you, man. Because especially I don't know what's going.
Lucky, I mean, Lucky's that deep guy.
It's been this way since the early 90s, man. But are they cloning quarterbacks? Is Huffnagel and are they cloning quarterbacks somewhere in northern Alberta? Like, to me, Nick Arbuckle looks a lot like Jeff Garcia, man.
It's Montana.
Since the early 90s, man, it's just quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. And Bo Levi Mitchell gets hurt, and you're like, oh, there's a crack in the army here. The Stamps are going to go on a rough spot here. And Arbuckle's thrown at 90%. So it is. I'm right there with you, man. Until the Bombers beat the Stamps in the Western Final, then no, you got to look at the stamps. And very interestingly, the last 2 games of the regular season, back-to-back games, Bombers stamps that set up who might take the West.
Troy Westwood has just stumbled upon something. Who's running Calgary? John Huffnagel, Dave Dickinson, 2 former quarterbacks. That's going to be the next thing, right? We had Chris Jones through here. Jeremy O'Day was a lineman. Craig Dickinson was a punter. We need quarterbacks running CFL teams. Where's Darian Durant when you need him? That'll be the next thing. Quarterbacks can identify franchise quarterbacks. What do you think about that?
Well, hey, man, Danny McManus is part of the scouting department here in Winnipeg. And I don't know I guess they've had some success with Chris Streveler as a backup and such, but it would make sense that a quarterback could go a long way into identifying who can toss the pill or not, a lot better than, say, an old lineman like Abu or an idiot kicker like me. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, yeah, you got Kahari Jones. Well, just look across the league. There seems the ebbs and flows of when you have a quarterback coach, when you go to a defensive coach. And
we've just set a topic for the next several weeks, thanks to Troy Westwood. Thank you, Westy.
What Troy said is so true. I mean, when you go back and you think about what's happened in Calgary since, like you say, the early 90s, you had Doug Flutie, and I might have my order a little mixed up, but then you get Jeff Garcia, and he has a run, and then there's the Dave Dickinson era, and then there's the Henry Burris era, and then there's the Bo Levi Mitchell, and you just, at some point, you think to yourself, okay, somewhere along the way, there has to be an average or mediocre quarterback that takes over this team, and maybe then is when they will not be an elite franchise and they'll be just kind of like the rest of us. But no, it never happens. It's just amazing.
Troy, what's going to happen tomorrow night? What do you expect Argos Bombers at IG Field?
I'm calling it Operation Cakewalk, man. I'm not saying that the Bombers are going to take them. Doggone it, the Toronto Argonauts, they're net yards guys. They are minus 204 net yards per game. Their net offense to net defense, they surrender over 200 yards more net. It's just astonishing. The Bombers, they could bring their D game out tomorrow night and win. I think, and this is, I was talking to Chris Wolby about this morning. I'm not talking about taking them lightly. And Abu knows what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about having a mentality that we're up against an opponent today that is inferior to us. And we're not going to take them lightly. We're going to smash them. We're going to absolutely curb stomp them and send them home early out of Winnipeg here. Like, that's, to me, that's the mentality that the Bombers should have tomorrow night. Absolutely destroy, humiliate the Toronto Argonauts and send them back on that plane home.
Oh, I know.
Don't take them lightly. Don't take them lightly, but destroy them. And I think if you can get to that place as a team, that's a good place to be.
Dave Ritchie would have us as the underdogs. No one's giving us a chance. If we don't beat the pants off of them, Calgary's going to beat us. We're not even playing Calgary, coach. That doesn't matter.
He's a warrior.
We would think we were going to lose by 50 going into it. Anyhow.
Westy, lastly, are they over in Winnipeg, the 5-game loss to the eventual Stanley Cup champion Blues there with the Jets?
No. And the scary thing is, fellas, and I know there's a lot of Jets fans in Saskatchewan. This is the question this morning was, where did the cup window go? Like, the Jets defensively right now, there's all kinds of question marks defensively. The bottom 6 is scary. The fourth line is possibly all first, second year type players. All kinds of wonder, like the second line center with Brian Little, position they've moved twice in the last 2 years to improve come playoff time. This is a team of great question right now. And you've got teams like the Blues, who are the Stanley Cup champs. You got the Avs, the Preds, and the Stars that have all gotten better on paper. And the Jets, if anything, they haven't stood pat. They've gotten worse. They lose their top guy on the right side in Jacob Trouba. They lose a very important Brandon Tanev. And there's no help, it seems, on the way. There's no big moves. And scarily, they're sitting there kind of like a lame duck with 2 RFAs in this offer sheet time where you just pray to goodness that nobody sends an offer sheet their way because they're up against the cap. But right now, where do you fit the Jets into the Central? Last year, it was undoubtedly, it was Nashville Jets, and it was just to what degree will the Jets dominate? Now you're looking at them, trying to fit them into, are they going to make the playoffs? Are 5 teams from the Central, the 2 wildcard teams coming from the Central, and can the Jets squeeze into the 4-5 hole? Boy, there's a lot of concern and questions in Winnipeg right now with the Jets.
Westy, let me be the second to say that you look fantastic. You really do. And we'll chat in the morning. I look forward to that visit on your show.
Thank you, boys. Always an absolute pleasure. Take care, fellas.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.